So I am moving away from the big CFL style lighting, which is what you see glowing crazily up above me at the moment, but these giant light bulbs that are video light bulbs. They are bright, they provide a nice clean white light, unless they're behind you, annoyingly, and they do a good job of providing good lighting for my studio. But they get really hot, and they take up a lot of space, because in order to use them, you need something like this, which is a softbox, which takes up a ton of freaking space, especially in the small workspace that I have to work with, and they get really hot. And to get a full, like, clean lighting set, you need a ton of them. If I want even lighting, I need an umbrella stand, which has a big umbrella sticking off of it, and a 4-way splitter, and 4 bulbs, and usually I have 2 of these, and maybe even a center light. This uses up a ton of power, it gets really, really hot, and like I said, it takes up a ton of space to have all this set up, and I can't afford to do that. And I mentioned in my studio tour that I wanted to make changes so that I had more space available again, because I was feeling a little cramped. So I am making the switch to LED lighting. LED lighting uses less power, it gets nowhere near as hot, and it takes up a lot less space. So I'm going to show you a couple of options I have. So I have 2 main LED lights that I'm working with. This is the Best Light 176S. I cut out some diffusion material and attached it to the front. You can see how tiny that is. Way smaller than the soft boxes. Now I still only have my cheap light stands that came with my Amazon soft boxes. They're unstable as can be and super low quality, but it works. And this is a small 176 LED light that you turn on, and that's half brightness. So if I turn it all the way up here, it gets pretty bright. Does a decent job of lighting my face, but it's terrible to look at even just through that diffusion material. So these are what I usually have mounted up on my stand up here for my unboxing setup. And they're going to be for like a light that goes behind me for my paper backdrop I'm trying to get working at the moment. The other one that I have, and I only have one of these because it's more expensive, this is a newer, it doesn't say on here, I don't know where the box went. It's like a newer 300 or so LED, 306 maybe. And it has a nice power switch and gets plenty bright as well. And since it's, 300 light, it gets way brighter, but I have fine-tuned control over how bright it is. That's usually my key light, my main light on my face. So what I've actually going to be doing is for videos of me, I have this stand here, which you can't really see, ironically, lighting is bad here, but this is an umbrella stand, so I can still use the umbrella with this to diffuse the big newer light, and then this light goes behind me for the paper backdrop. So I'm going to set up my generalized setup for how I would normally use the paper backdrop here, and show you a general idea, but it's not going to look right because the backdrop isn't quite right, and I don't have it exactly fine-tuned, but I'm going to show you the general idea of what I'm going for.
3 hours later.
So this is the general idea behind the new lighting setup with the white backdrop, hopefully properly white balanced this time. Has kind of a gray look depending on how much light is coming from this bad boy right here. And I can actually turn it down. I believe that's going down, yeah. Turn it down to just provide a little light, and then get back in front here. And while I do still cast a shadow at the moment, provides a nice little gray light. My problem is actually lighting myself. This is a 306 LED light, and it's on max setting with that umbrella diffuser. And I can't really get it in front of me enough to not have sharp contrast across my face. You can kind of see it in the corner popping in as I'm like trying to center it a little more. And I don't feel like I'm well lit enough. I'd have to crank up the ISO quite a bit to really get me well lit enough. Thankfully, I may have a solution. Where'd it go? I had a solution. I lost my solution. It's somewhere under the workbench here. Here we go. So this is a big giant ass thing. It is a Flowlight Microbeam 512. It is a 512 light LED system. It was purchased from an educational auction of educational surplus material, but it doesn't have a power adapter. It uses a 4-pin XLR power adapter, which I certainly don't have, and it looks like it's a special one for this light. It has a very nice dial control for the brightness, and even includes an umbrella stand built in if I can figure out how to actually attach it to my light stand itself, which is going to be a problem. And it doesn't have the diffuse panel, but if I theoretically can get it mounted up with the umbrella here, it would probably be bright enough and potentially even enough to work. So it was $50, but I ordered the power adapter for this from Flowlight, and that was a month ago, and they haven't actually sent it yet. It got updated as preparing to ship, and then I never heard back from them. So I sent them an email today, or yesterday, and it apparently got shipped to their warehouse and they never sent it to me. So that was annoying. So they're supposedly 3 days shipping it, but I haven't heard back yet. So if I get that, hopefully the light even works in the first place, and maybe I can get it set up here. So that's the overall idea. Who knows if it'll work, but I just wanted to explain the process since I was making these changes as I explained in the video. And they are pretty drastic workflow changes compared to what I was using and sort of recommending previously. I've used those softbox lights since like 2013 when I was living with my parents. And so it's a fairly big change, but I think the overall effect looks pretty nice if I can get the kinks worked out, and I'm excited for that. And another option I have also is using some sort of bounce card like this to try to lower the contrast. But again, I don't have a whole lot of space to work with to actually see the white backdrop. The paper itself isn't wide enough, so what I had to do here was clamp it to my sound blanket. And it's already got wrinkles in it, so I'm going to have to make a fresh cut at some point with some help, because you can see the creases in it from where I was doing a very rough job. But the end result will hopefully be worth all this crazy amounts of effort.